Today, the Gospel reading presents before us a beautiful picture of the world today and our life these days. It's something called Emmaus, the journey away from Jerusalem. So the story of Emmaus is not just about two disciples walking on a dusty road long ago. It is our story. It is the story of every person who has ever felt lost, every heart that has walked away from hope, away from God, and doing so away from one's true identity. The Gospel tells us that the two disciples were leaving Jerusalem and going to Emmaus. You know, in the Bible, Jerusalem always represents the place of God's presence, place of hope, and place of meaning. And yet they were walking away because their expectations were scattered. Their expectations were destroyed. They believed in Jesus. They trusted Him. And now He is crucified. Everything seems to have lost. They walk away disappointed, confused, broken. And looking at our lives today, isn't this true to our lives too? We too walk away when life doesn't go as planned. We too walk away from God when prayers seem unanswered. We too walk away from God when faith feels empty. We too turn our backs towards God when we feel we are alone. It is not always physically, but deep within our hearts. Today, our Emmaus road has taken new form. We don't always walk away physically. We escape digitally. We escape technologically. We know technology is a gift to us, making our life a little more simpler and easier. It helps us communicate instantly, have access to knowledge without any problem, and it simplifies our life. But at the same time, it carries a hidden danger. It slowly weakens our inner capacities, the human abilities. Today we no longer remember because everything is stored. We no longer think deeply because answers come instantly. Just to Google it or ask Siri or Alexa, everything is there. We no longer reflect because we constantly distracted. There is a study, the dementia, the ability to remember, it's losing. We human beings are losing the capacity to remember. One of the reasons is that we don't make use of our brain. That is one of the reasons. The human brain, one of the most powerful creations of God, is being slowly replaced by dependency on machines. Artificial intelligence, computers, algorithms, they assist us, yes, truly. But they can also reduce us into something very meaningless. If we stop using the gifts of God as already placed within us, we will lose our humanity. There is a beautiful book called Pure Human by Greg Braden. If you get hold of it, please read that. He is saying that we may be the last generation of pure humanness. We will be replaced by machines and chips and AI and all those stuff. And before that happens, reclaim your humanity. This is where the danger becomes really spiritual. When we depend too much on external systems, we forget how to listen, how to discern, how to listen to our own hearts. We forget how to encounter God personally. We become efficient, true, but empty. Connected, but not rooted. Informed, but not transformed. Like the disciples, we walk, but we do not know where we are going. We have information, but we have lost our true identity. I don't know whether you have seen the movie Hidden Figures. Have you? Hidden Figures. It's a beautiful movie. You have to watch that one. There are beautiful movies. Most of the times we don't watch them. because we look for entertainment. And this is a story when human beings, especially the United States, they were trying to send human beings into the space, and they come across a big problem in computing the entry point into the Earth's atmosphere. So during this process, NASA begins to rely on computers. So that is the first time they had IBM, a huge computer, and it's a kind of full of the whole house. And people assumed the machines will do everything. But when the system failed, it is the human mind that saves the mission. One lady, African-American lady, she comes up with a beautiful solution. She computes, she does the algorithm problem, and she finds the solution to it. So this woman stands up and solves the problem manually, something the computer could not do in that moment. That scene reminds us human intelligence is not replaceable. It is God-given. Technology can assist, but it cannot replace the depth of the human spirit, the intuition of the human heart, the wisdom born out of experience and suffering. So in the gospel, my dear friends, Jesus walks with the disciples, but they do not recognize him. Why? Because they are overwhelmed. In our time, we are not just overwhelmed by pain, we are overwhelmed by noise, constant notification, endless scrolling, unceasing stimulation. And in that noise, we fail to recognize the silent presence of God. It's a sad situation, but that is the reality that we are encountering today. Then comes the turning point at the table. Jesus takes bread, breaks it, and gives it. And their eyes are opened. They recognize him in the breaking, the beauty of breaking the bread and breaking ourselves. This is the deepest truth. We rediscover God and ourselves, not in distraction, not in noise, not in artificial support, but in moments of real encounter, often through brokenness. Because brokenness slows us down, forces us to reflect, brings us back to what truly matters. And this is what we encounter whenever we visit the hospital. People, those who are so busy, they have plenty of time now, calming down and reflecting on their lives. Sometimes they do, sometimes we don't. We sometimes, blame God for what had happened to us, not realizing most of the times it's because of our own actions. The disciples say, were not our hearts burning within us? That burning heart is something no machine can produce, no technology can replace. A heart that loves, a conscience that discerns, a soul that seeks. These are divine gifts, my dear friends. So don't lose your hearts in this noisy and busy world. And when we lose touch with them, we lose ourselves. Only once they recognize Jesus, they return to Jerusalem. They go back to community, they go back to mission, they go back to purpose, they reclaim their true potentiality. Because once you discover your true identity, you cannot remain lost. That's the truth of it. So there is a Japanese art called kintsugi. Kintsugi, I don't know whether I'm pronouncing properly. And what is this art? They never throw away broken pottery. No broken pots are thrown away, but it is repaired with gold. We have plenty of gold in Timmins. We can do that. The cracks are not hidden, they are made beautiful. And this is what God does with us. Even in a world that tries to upgrade everything artificially, God does something deeper. He transforms us from within. And today, let us reflect, my dear friends, ask some questions to ourselves. Am I slowly becoming dependent on things that weaken my inner life? Have I lost the ability to think, reflect, and pray deeply? Am I walking away from my true identity? And let us remember, technology can assist our life, but it cannot define our true identity. Only God can. We will find Him not in endless distraction, but in silence, in encounter and in brokenness. Amen.